the performance group, Korea. Please give a big round of applause. Thank you. We opened today's opening ceremony with a spectacular and fantastic opening performance. It was a convergent fusion art which blends digital media technology, music, and dance. And truly, the powerful beats captured the exciting moment of beginning of ICTAM 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, did you enjoy it? Thank you. I hope you did. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, welcome, and thank you for your presence at the opening ceremony of ICTAM 2024. I'm Lee Song-hye, and I'll be your MC for today. It's a great honor and pleasure to have you here for such a meaningful and a wonderful event here in host city, Daegu Metropolitan City. Especially this year marks centennial of ICTAM. As we have gathered here today, let us honor the legacy of the past century and look forward to the future, driven by innovation and unlimited possibilities. So now, let us begin the opening ceremony of ICTAM 2024. To mark the beginning of this event, I'd like to invite Professor Norman A. Flack, President of ICTAM, to declare the opening of ICTAM 2024. Please welcome President Norman Flack.
Good morning, everyone. First, I want to say I want a wide screen like this at my house at home. It is a real honor to be able to be the one to open the ICTAM 2024 this morning in the presence of fellow researchers, my friends, students, who are also friends, representatives of the government of the Republic of Korea. I hereby declare the opening of the 26th International Congress of Theoretical and Applied Mechanics, celebrating its 100th anniversary. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Professor Norman A. Flack declared the opening of ICTAM 2024. Thank you very much. His declaration made this event more meaningful and significant. Next, let me invite Professor Hee-dong Kim, the chairman of Organizing Committee, to deliver his welcoming address. Please welcome Chairman Kim with a big round of applause.
Good morning, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure that we host the 26th International Congress of Theoretical and Applied Mechanics here in Daegu. This year's Congress is especially significant as it marks the 100th anniversary since the first Congress, which was held in Delft, Netherlands in 1924. It is a tremendous honor to host this historic event on its centennial here in Daegu, the Republic of Korea. I would like to express my gratitude to the President of ICTAM, Professor Norman Flack, and the ICTAM XCCC for their assistance in preparing this Congress, as well as to the various officials of Korean government. I also extend my special thanks to Mayor Jun Pyo-hong and others who have taken time out of their busy schedules to attend this opening ceremony. Over the past 100 years, ICTAM has played a significant role in driving global industrial development, and I believe it will continue to have a profound impact on the advancement of engineering. Therefore, I believe that the 26th ICTAM held here in Daegu will serve as a new milestone, offering the next 100 years of mechanics. Our ICTAM team has prepared this event with the utmost care, keeping this purpose in mind. I hope that all of you will have a rewarding and very safe and enjoyable week, and that you will live with wonderful memories of your time in Daegu. Finally, I would like to thank Secretary General Professor Simon Song and the various members of the local organizing committee who have worked so hard with us over the past 4 years. Thank you very much.
Chairman Kim gave us a warm welcome speech. His word inspired us as we move forward with this event. To encourage Chairman Kim and to local organizing committee, would you please give another round of applause? Next, we will proceed congratulatory speeches from our guests of honor. To celebrate the opening of ICTAM 2024 Centennial, President Yoon Song-yeol of Republic of Korea sent congratulations. Due to important scheduling commitment, he was not able to join us, but he conveyed his message. So please allow me to read it on behalf of the President. I'd like to sincerely congratulate the hosting of International Congress of Theoretical Applied Mechanics. The International Congress of Theoretical Applied Mechanics is an academic conference held every 4 years in the field of mechanics, which is the core of engineering. I'm proud that this Congress, which celebrates its 100th anniversary, is being held in Daegu, Republic of Korea. I hope this Congress, held under the theme of human-centered mechanics, will present new directions in mechanical engineering research and become an opportunity to enrich human life. I sincerely welcome the world's mechanics community leaders who have come to Korea, August 26, 2024, President Yoon Song-yeol. Thank you very much. To President, would you please give another round of applause? This time, we have the honor of welcoming Mayor Jun Pyo-hong of Daegu Metropolitan City for a congratulatory speech. Please welcome the Mayor Hong with a big round of applause. 오늘 통역은 자막으로 제공이 되겠습니다.
반갑습니다. 대구광역시장 홍준표입니다. 올해 100주년을 맞이하는 제26차 국제이론 및 응용 역학학술회의를 우리 대구에서 개최하게 된 것을 매우 기쁘게 생각합니다. 250만 대구 시민을 대표하여 여러분들을 진심으로 환영합니다. 세계적인 국제회의를 유치하는 데 노력해 주신 노르만 플렉 회장님, 김희동 조직위원장님을 비롯한 여러 위원님들께 깊은 감사를 드립니다. 세계 유수의 도시에서 4년마다 개최되는 ICTAM은 세계 최고의 권위를 자랑하는 역학 분야의 올림픽이라고 할 수 있습니다. 특히 올해로 대100주년을 맞이하는 뜻깊은 해에 대한민국 최고의 혁신 도시 우리 대구에서 세계적인 석학들이 모인 것은 대구와 한국, 나아가 글로벌 산업기술 발전에 큰 도움이 될 것입니다. 이번 회의를 통해 핵물리, 우주항공 등 최첨단 공학에 대해 폭넓은 논의가 이루어지리라고 생각합니다. 이번 국제회의가 세계 지성들이 모여서 연구 결과를 논의하고 논의된 내용들이 대한민국뿐만 아니라 우리 대구의 신산업 발전에도 큰 도움이 될 수 있기를 기대합니다. 대구에 머무르는 동안 행복하고 즐거운 시간 보내시기 바랍니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you. Mayor Jun Pyo-hong gave us congratulatory speech. As he mentioned, Daegu is a host city, the hub of advanced technology and innovation. Also, the Daegu is now keep fostering the 5 promising the future industries such as robotics, UAM mobility, ABB, semiconductors, and healthcare for the coming 50 years. Also, the mayor has shown us great support and invest in ensuring the success of this event, ICTAM 2024. So, Mayor, we truly appreciate it. To celebrate the opening ICTAM 2024, lots of esteemed guests sent congratulations, but due to time constraints, please allow me to move on to the next program. We ask for your understanding. Now we will have a very special moment for this occasion commemorating Centennial. I'd like to invite Professor Norman A. Fleck, the president of ICTAM, once again for a commemorative speech. Please join me in welcoming him with a warm round of applause.
Hello again. Thank you for those speeches. The Mayor of Daegu in particular mentioned human-centered mechanics, and I want to start, if I may, with my presentation. Good, okay. Okay, human-centered mechanics. This stop press, Guy Gannon, my good friend, sent this to me. It's just to point out to you that ICTAM has claimed victory over the 2024 Olympic Games. You probably know this already, but the Chinese record holder for speed walking, Qing Deng, made in his walking 395 meters in 1 minute 33 seconds. The reason I say 395 meters is significant is if you look on the right-hand slide, you'll see that that is precisely the distance between this conference center and the conference venue hotel, 395 meters. However, the Daegu walking speed is such that it takes us only 1 minute to get from the venue hotel to this venue center. So ICTAM wins. Okay, so let me begin. I've got an unenviable task, I think, of scanning us through 100 years of ICTAM, and I want to look at the past, but also look at the future. Here we start our journey of ICTAM 1924 in Delft in black and white, and we move to Daegu in color. You'll recognize certainly the Expo Fine Conference Center where we're at. And I asked the question, how can mechanics continue to thrive? Well, let me give a bit of history. Before ICTAM, and there was life before ICTAM, there was the Industrial Revolution. Before that, there was the Principia. Those of us from Cambridge, UK, are very keen to mention the Principia, Isaac Newton's contribution in 1687. But the point I want to make is that industrial revolutions and certain spurts of technology drive mechanics. It was only a short period from Drake's discovery of oil commercially to essentially commercialization of cars, the mass production of cars 1908. Wright brothers took off 1903. So a very short period of time from oil being discovered commercially to whole new technologies developing. And I should point out that the electric car, commercial electric cars, were first invented, I should say, well, first invented in France, but they were commercially developed in London for the London taxi, the so-called hummingbird, because it sounded like a hummingbird. Sadly, it was too heavy, and the tires wore out, so it never caught on. Let me give you a little bit of context. Before ICTAM got started as a congress, there were previous congresses. I'm going to mention three. I'll mention the chemists who came along just about the same time as Francis Drake, not Francis Drake, let's go back one. Drake and his oil well, 1859. So 1860 was the first meeting of the chemists, and at that first Congress, they were discussing whether gases were made of atoms or molecules. The chemists had major arguments at the time about composition of chemicals, let alone petrol. And one of the main papers that was presented, and the comment was, I was astonished at the clarity of the manuscript that explained that molecules could exist rather than just atoms. The little manuscript covered all the important points in dispute. It was as if scales fell off my eyes, doubts vanished, and a feeling of calm certainty came over me. Well, I hope we have such a degree of revelation and excitement at our continued ICTAMs. After the chemists came the mathematicians, they were very smart. They invented not just mathematics, but also the Fields Medal, and they award the Fields Medal at their opening Congress every 4 years, the Nobel Prize, so to speak, of mathematics. So we need to learn something from them. David Hilbert in 1900 announced 23 unsolved mathematical problems called the Hilbert's problems. And this is a real piece of smart marketing as well as intellectually challenging. 1911, soon after, the physicists came along, and the top 20 scientists of Europe were paid by Solvay and attended a conference in Belgium. And he brought together classical physics and quantum theory. Einstein, aged 32 in the front row, one of the youngest present, said afterwards that he didn't learn very much from it, and most of the meeting was spent complaining from the elderly people about the threat of quantum mechanics to classical theory. So we need to embrace new ideas that challenge established understanding. So mechanics enters the stage in 1922, just after First World War, the Great War. Von Karman trained in Budapest, Hungary, and then a professor in Aachen. He was the one who organized a controversial meeting in Innsbruck with 30 scientists to discuss particular problems in hydrodynamics and aerodynamics that had emerged as a result of the developments during the war. His sister and himself, he had a very lively sister. He never married, so his sister and he organized things. They paid the secretarial expenses out of their own pockets. Sadly, we're not in a position to do that today. He suggested that an international congress might be held on a wider scale, and that was the thought of developing a bigger congress. So at the time, again, there were inventions being produced. Some of the inventions stayed, the helicopter on the left, although in a scaled-down version. And on the right, some inventions never really took off. So that was 1922. By 24 in Delft, the first Congress in Applied Mechanics was held. 50 papers, 200 scientists. So it was an interesting ratio of, for every one speaker, there were 3 people listening. And that's something which I suspect we've lost a little bit along the way. We all like to come and talk. Not so many of us are good at listening. At that meeting, the press release was that Applied Mechanics had showed itself to be a fully fledged field beside other fields of science. And at that meeting, it was emphasized the synergy that existed between theoretical mechanics and applied mechanics. The topics I'm listing there are on the left, the theoretical side, but they play very much into the problems on the right. Turbine construction would require knowledge of aerodynamics, also, or hydrodynamics, depending. Elasticity, crystal, stability, and vibrations. So certain problems of the day, practical problems, required underpinning, and it was a two-way synergy. This Congress was the first international Congress in the sciences since 1914, and it was commented that it might help remove the alienation between researchers of different countries who, despite everything, have never been able to do without each other. And that message, I think, is equally true today. Fast forward to after the Second World War, 1946. At the 6th ICTAM in Paris, it was decided to create a more permanent organization to organize meetings, symposia, and so on in between the congresses, and so was born ICTAM. And I wasn't quite sure what image to show of ICTAM giving birth to ICTAM. The best I could come up with was the cheeky little monkey on the right-hand side, which quickly grew up to be the parent of ICTAM. The first meeting of ICTAM comprised a number of famous scientists that we will still have talk about and read about. Von Karman was there, G.I. Taylor was there, to mention two. The discussion raged about how best to set up ICTAM, and the British, G.I. Taylor amongst others, were a bit concerned. This was, you have to remember, way before Brexit, where the British were very concerned about Europe. Well, even at that time, the British were a bit concerned, and they were worried that ICTAM might be too bureaucratic. They remarked that the success of ICTAM, of these congresses, has proved that the simplicity of organization, the choice of subject matter, and the way in which we have arranged to keep out of all political controversies have worked very well. So that rings true. I don't think our organizers, Simon Song and Professor Huedong Kim, would agree with me about the simplicity of organization of an event of this size. The British did join after they read carefully the statutes, and they were drafted. New statutes of ICTAM have been drafted in 2022, and I'm pleased to say that the British have remained within ICTAM. Okay. Let me tell you a little bit of geography. This is the world, as you know, and ICTAM has bounced around in various places. It hasn't been to India, Africa, or South America, but it has had many meetings in Europe, as you can see on the left, also US and Asia, where we are today, and Australia once. I thought it would be helpful just to give you a few comments about the difference between ICTAM and ICTAM. On the left is ICTAM, very simple in one sense, the organization. It's run by a local organizing committee that changes with the ICTAM. In order to choose the location and to help drive it, there's a Congress committee from ICTAM that helps. On the right-hand side is ICTAM. It gets its funding bottom-up from countries, many adhering organizations from 50 or more countries. It's a democratic organization, has an annual general meeting, an AGM. It's got a board of directors. And then it organizes symposia and summer schools. It gives out awards, ICTAM awards at ICTAMs, and so on. And tries to be, whether it's successful is up to you to decide, tries to be the global voice of mechanics. ICTAM is different from many of the national organizations because it's truly international. So it has symposia on the right. I just came from the ICTAM symposium on capillarity and elastocapillarity in biology, hence the picture of the hummingbird drinking. On the bottom left is was the first summer school at Chisholm in Udine in 1990, organized by James Lighthill. ICTAM today is a fully incorporated, that means we exist as a not-for-profit association registered in Amsterdam quite recently, end of 2022. These are our offices in the middle there, a so-called virtual office in Amsterdam with some nice rooms on the left. And this was our first inaugural meeting of the three initial directors, Secretary General Bob McMeeking with his Scottish hat on, and Pilar with her Spanish hat, and me with my British hat. So ICTAM sits within ISC, the International Science Council, which is the global voice for science, not just mechanics, based in Paris. So we're one of many scientific unions that get together to come up with agendas to try and solve problems on a global scale and try to link mechanics to other subjects. Back to ICTAM then. Let me just mention the hot topics in mechanics over 100 years. We've already seen the ones on the top left in Delft. If we go across 25 years later to ICTAM in London, some of the topics continue. Plasticity has emerged, vibrations dynamics, lubrication theory has emerged, and the beginnings of the notion of calculations, numerical calculations, methods of approximate computation, for example. 25 years later, by 1980 or so in Russia, in Moscow, fraction mechanics had emerged, shell theory, animal locomotion, including swimming, control theory, and numerical analysis. So there's an emergence of computational numerical work. And then that takes us 25 years later to today, where, again, we have an emergence of some new fields. Chemomechanics, for example, put in italics 3 of them: chemomechanics, the bottom, fluid mechanics of sustainable propulsion, fluid mechanics of climate change are just 3 of our mini symposia, along with data-driven mechanics and AI, for example. Okay, I'm going to just show a quick slide for those 3 mini symposia. Chemomechanics for energy storage, the lithium-ion battery springs to mind, and it shows a really coupled multi-physics problem where mechanics is very important for failure of the particularly cathode materials, which they can either be polycrystals or single crystals made of ceramic particles. So this is an area where the electrochemists need our help, but we need to learn their language in order to help them. Fluid mechanics of sustainable propulsion, well, this in many ways is the future. Some countries are very keen on hydrogen, others are not keen on hydrogen, but there now have been developments of hydrogen-powered gas turbines. We all talk about fusion reactors and the fact that they may emerge one day, but they'll be based on hydrogen too. So there are these new technologies which really do require mechanics in different ways. And thirdly, fluid mechanics of climate change. Well, recently, it was found that the world's biggest iceberg, so great name, A23A, broke away. It actually broke away 40 years ago. It's now stuck off the South Orkney Islands, and it's stuck in a vortex. G.I. Taylor was the one who predicted the so-called Taylor column vortex, formed by a current meeting an obstruction on the seafloor, which separates the flow and gives rise to a rotating column of water between the ocean floor and the surface. And this iceberg remains trapped. It's just as a scale bar on the bottom right is the distance between the UK and France, and so the iceberg would more or less bridge that gap. This Taylor column had a long history. Kelvin was the first to observe it, and G.I. Taylor, amongst others, but Taylor was the one who really developed the underpinning theory for it, hence it's referred to as a Taylor column. Okay, so we can ask the question, how can mechanics continue to thrive? We've emphasized, or I've emphasized, this balance between theoretical and applied as being important, and the fact that new problems, new technologies should be seen as opportunities rather than threats for us. Historically, we have worked on the left-hand side. We've thought in terms of applications, shell theory from the space race, for example, plasticity, fracture mechanics, prediction of gas and liquid flows. All of these areas, these subjects emerged when new applications came along to drive them, and there was a requirement for new design methods, relevant physics, and predictive models. More recently, our strategy has been slightly different. We've had the notion of mechanics plus, and ideally we want to be mechanics being an important contribution, not just an add-on. So if we think of mechanics plus material science, we think of composites development. We can have nanoscale devices, molecular motors at the very small scale, where intriguingly the length scale of the machine is comparable to the length scale of the active physics. Multi-physics, such as electrochemistry, mechanics plus biology or biochemistry giving us mechanobiology, mechanics plus big data, well, that's an open question. Certainly there are emerging methods, three-dimensional CT methods, to develop new experimental methods that are giving us lots of data, but the question is, how do we analyze that data and how do we make use of our existing knowledge, 100 plus years of understanding? And we're used to condensing that understanding to back-of-the-envelope calculations rather than the so-called black box approach of machine learning. So the jury is out, I would say, into looking to see the extent to which machine learning and mechanics can come together to form a useful tool together. In all of these application areas and in all these opportunities, our activity requires imagination and creativity. So what next for us? What next for ICTAM? Mechanics, I believe, is still needed, particularly in emerging technologies, such as electric car and other applications. We've got the required combination of experimental and theoretical skills to help. Growth spurts in mechanics accompanied and stimulated new industries, the Industrial Revolution, human flight, space flight, and now sustainable energy supply. But we have threats to organizations such as ICTAM. Air travel, as we know, and other forms of travel produces NOx, nitrogen oxide, and CO2. And so long-distance travel is frowned upon, and online conferences are now commonplace. But the good news is, and I take this good news from the 1924 ICTAM meeting, that scientists remain human, and as recognized then, they need to share ideas and come together and get new friendships and learn from each other. And I'll now close by introducing the Centennial video. In the Centennial video, towards the end of it is referenced TAM, and the word TAM is not introduced. I'm sure we all know that TAM stands for Theoretical and Applied Mechanics. It doesn't mean the age after mechanics. And I want to end in a slightly brighter note than the video ends with, to say that the future is bright for theoretical and applied mechanics, but it's up to us to act in that manner and to be limited only by our imagination and our creativity and our ambition. So with that, thank you very much for your attention.
In 1922, Theodor von Karman, director of the Institute of Hydro and Aeromechanics at the Aachen Polytechnic, was conducting pioneering research in his field. In April of that year, seeking advice on several interesting research outcomes, he emphasized the need for collaboration and meetings among scientists in a letter to Italian mathematician Tullio Levi-Civita. Tullio Levi-Civita shared von Karman's recognition of the importance of international collaboration and meetings, and that fall, they agreed to meet in person in Innsbruck, Austria. Subsequently, the two began to inform and invite scientists from various European countries to the Innsbruck meeting. However, in the turbulent post-World War I situation, many European scientists were hesitant to attend the Innsbruck meeting. Von Karman reached out to his mentor, Ludwig Prandtl, in Göttingen, Germany. But due to the pervasive anti-German sentiment in Europe at the time, Prandtl expressed difficulties in attending in person. However, he strongly agreed on the necessity of the meeting and thus signed on as a co-initiator. Consequently, the invitation to the Innsbruck meeting was issued in the joint names of Theodor von Karman, Tullio Levi-Civita, Ludwig Prandtl, and Swedish physicist Carl Wilhelm Oseen. In September 1922, 33 scientists from Germany, the United Kingdom, France, Austria, the Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, and Italy gathered in Innsbruck. This event, known as the Zeroth Congress, marked the inception of ICTAM. At the Innsbruck gathering, von Karman emphasized the importance of young scientists' participation and roles in hydro and aerodynamics, as well as applied mechanics, proposing that Jan Burgers, a student attendee, host the first ICTAM at the Technical University of Delft in the Netherlands. ICTAM has since been held every 4 years, traversing continents without interruption, even during World War II, fostering vibrant research and academic exchange in TAM. During the 6th ICTAM in Paris in 1946, many delegates discussed the need for an international union to enhance cooperation and exchange across various mechanical disciplines. This led to the establishment of ICTAM, with J. Paris from France elected as the first president at the following Congress in London in 1948. Since then, ICTAM has evolved into a leading international body that not only oversees the successful organization of ICTAM, but also champions collaboration and exchange among scientists. It now operates as a global scientific union striving for fairness and diversity, while also nurturing the next generation of researchers. Since the first ICTAM was successfully held at the Delft University of Technology in 1924, ICTAM has grown into a massive congress known as the Olympics of Engineering, attracting thousands of TAM researchers worldwide every 4 years. Although ICTAM has traditionally focused on theoretical and experimental mechanics based on mathematics and physics, the rapid spread of computers since the 1980s has shifted the focus to computational mechanics and applied mechanics, starting with the 15th Congress in Toronto. Over the past 25 editions, ICTAM has significantly contributed to academic advancement in fields based on Newtonian mechanics, such as mechanical, aerospace, naval, chemical engineering, civil engineering, and biomedical engineering. The foundation it has provided for industrial technology development cannot be overstated. However, the gap between developed and developing countries in science and technology is widening, and interest in TAM research is declining. It is known that in some countries, there are almost no scientists studying TAM. This year, ICTAM 2024 in Daegu marks the 100th anniversary of ICTAM, a historic and monumental event. At this juncture, it is our mission as researchers and colleagues gathered here to honorably carry forward the illustrious tradition of ICTAM bequeathed by our predecessors and to enrich and deepen it as a legacy for the next generation of scientists. This requires not only advancing TAM research, but also enhancing international cooperation in exchange for the common development.
Congratulations on the centennial celebration of ICTAM in the beautiful city of Daegu. I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to Professor Hyo-Dong Kim and his team for their dedicated efforts over several years to make this event of hosting ICTAM 2024 a reality. I hope that this event will not only reflect a century of achievements in mechanics research, but will also pave the way for new horizons in mechanics over generations to come.
As we look toward the future, the focus of mechanics may need to shift towards human-centered areas such as environmental, energy, and biomedical sciences, and efforts to reinvigorate interest in TAM will be necessary. In particular, a paradigm shift in TAM research linked to high-performance internet, quantum computing, AI, and big data is needed. ICTAM 2024 is expected to set a new milestone for the next century of ICTAM from this perspective.
At the 26th ICTAM, we celebrate the centenary together, fostering close interaction and collaboration among TAM research. We also hope that this Congress in Daegu will serve as a wonderful start to the next 100 years of TAM, allowing participants to enjoy Korean culture during their stay.
Finally, sincere thanks are due to Norman, Robert, Sanjay, and Simon for their hard work in producing this video.
Please give a big round of applause. Through the President's presentation and video, we have witnessed the powerful glimpse of the powerful journey and powerful history and magnificent achievements. As you all know, the countless individuals have committed themselves for the development of this field and laid a firm foundation, and we are standing on it. To all the contributors for the last 100 years, please give another round of applause. ICTAM 2024 will offer unparalleled and fruitful session, fostering both personal and professional growth for 5 days. The Secretary General of ICTAM 2024, Simon Song, will give the detail of the program. Please welcome Secretary General.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Simon Song, the Secretary General, and welcome to Daegu and welcome to the ICTAM 2024 opening ceremony. I will give you a brief overview of the event, its scale and diversity, and scientific program, and a few highlights. Okay, let's start with the program. We've got full schedule over the next few days, 4 plenary lectures, 16 sectional lectures, and over 200 invited talks across 8 mini symposia and 45 thematic sessions. To help you get around, here is a quick look at the floor plans. We are using 3 floors. The 3rd floor has registration desk and most of the oral and poster presentation. And 2nd floor, we've got 4 session rooms, including room 211, where some sectional lectures will be held. On the 5th floor, we are gonna host the opening and the closing ceremony and plenary lectures and additional sectional lectures. Session room details are in the program book on page 50, or you can check our on-site mobile page for real-time updates using this QR code on page 6 of the program book. Here is how to read presentation code. First 2 letters are the date, followed by the type, PL for plenary lecture, SL for sectional lecture, MS for mini symposia, FM for thematic sessions of fluid, SM for thematic sessions of solid, FS for fluid-solid interaction, and the next 2 letters or digits indicate the session code, and the last 2 digits shows the presentation order in each session. For those in ICTAM meetings, here is the schedule. Meetings are either EXCO or Hotel Interburgo, so make sure to double check your times and rooms. On Wednesday, after Rodney Hill Prize lecture, we've arranged tours to cultural sites like Hapcheon, Gyeongju, Andong, and Daegu. It is a great way to explore and network with your colleagues, and lunch boxes will be provided on the buses. The official program kicks off with this ceremony, and join us for a welcome reception tonight and the Congress banquet on Thursday. The banquet is already sold out. I'm sorry about that, but for those attending, it is going to be a fantastic evening with a taekwondo performance and some old but gold songs played on Korean traditional instrument. And this is the most important one, I think, lunch. We have 250 lunch boxes available daily, except Wednesday, 100 vegetarian and 50 halal, and all first come, first served. Or you can use your lunch coupons at one of the 16 nearby restaurants. And please note that the coupon is valid for 10,000 Korean won. I think you will like this one too, Daegu's nightlife. So check out the Susong Lake or downtown area for plenty of fun spots to explore. A few quick tips. Wi-Fi is available throughout the EXCO under EXCO free network, and no password is required. And we have free shuttle buses running between major hotels and EXCO. Last but not least, use this Congress mobile page for real-time updates, and just scan this QR code to access everything you need. And this is it. And once again, welcome to Daegu, and I hope you to enjoy the centennial ICTAM. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary General, from his presentation. So much fruitful session, and including the tour program, lunch, and also transportation. To Secretary General and the local organized committee who prepared this Congress for the last 4 years, please give a big round of applause. Starting today, various programs and events will take place over the 5 days. We encourage your active participation and hope you find this ICTAM 2024 to be a rewarding experience. For those of you who have not registered yet, please proceed after Plenary Lecture 1 as we start the Plenary Lecture 1 in a few minutes. So for those of you who have not registered yet, please proceed after Plenary Lecture 1. The plenary, now we will arrange the stage and proceed with the plenary lecture 1 in a few minutes. The distinguished professor Kim Yoon-young from Sookmyung Women's University from Korea will give the presentation, and Professor Kim Kyung-suk from Brown University, USA will be our moderator. So I will see you soon in a few minutes with the plenary lecture 1. Thank you very much.